All right. So I think we'll get started here. So for this first part, I'm all right. To begin with, this is being recorded. The plan is to put this up on YouTube so you guys can go back and re-listen to it, or anyone who missed it can go and watch it later. So I'm going to mute everyone for the first couple of minutes, and then when we get into the discussion, I'll unmute y'all. All right. So welcome to the very first Get Haunted Paranormal Town Hall. Because this is the first one, I'm going to take a couple minutes and kind of explain where this idea came from, why we're doing this, and what you can expect from it. So this all started from an idea that Tanya had, and then her and I talked about it, and it kind of evolved into this town hall. And a lot of the ideas behind it were that, you know, one of the things that we love to do during investigations is to get together and talk about, you know, tell stories, talk about equipment, talk about methods, and just kind of have a good time talking about the paranormal. And, you know, we want to do more of that. Obviously, when you're on an investigation, you also got to investigate. Otherwise, it's just a hangout, and we paid way too much money to just go hang out. So this is an opportunity to have more of those conversations. In addition to that, we want to get to know you. Us here at Get Haunted, we want to know all of you guys. And I know eventually we'll have enough members that won't be possible, but we're going to try. And on top of that, we want you guys to know each other. You know, Get Haunted was made as an opportunity for everybody to work together, to get help from one another, to investigate together, and just build each other up. So that's a lot easier to do when everybody knows each other. So that's one of the driving forces behind this. Another driving force behind this is there's a lot of information out there on the paranormal. Some of it good, some of it bad, most of it somewhere in the middle. So what we want to do with this is get more of the good information out there, answer any questions you may have. If you're having a problem with something, we can help out. Or if you just want to discuss and debate and tell stories, we can do that too. This is much like the rest of Get Haunted. You get out of this as much as you got what you guys want to get out of this. So most of the format for the town hall as it stands now is, you know, we'll start it up. We'll, you know, get a few minutes of a brief introduction to the topic, and then open it up for you guys to discuss. So tonight's topic is equipment. We have enough topics to cover the next year and a half, really. And then, you know, we'll have you guys talk about those different, you know, item, whatever the topic is. Now, that being said, there's a couple ground rules. Number one, respect each other. This is supposed to be an opportunity for everyone to get to know each other, to have a fun conversation and have a good time. So please be respectful of each other. That means no name calling, no insults, nothing like that. Rule number two, don't talk over each other. Now, I understand that when you have, you know, meetings like this, virtual meetings, sometimes people are going to start talking at the same time. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm referring to is when somebody's giving their opinion on something and someone else tries to talk over them because they want to be heard instead. That's not going to be tolerated here. Rule number three, no arguing. If you want to debate is great. But once it turns into an argument, we're going to stop it. Follow these rules, and this is going to be a lot of fun. If you break the rules, you'll get a warning. And if you continue to do it, you're going to get booted. So that's the bad part of my talk, you know. But yeah, so I guess we will get going and get started on this topic of equipment.
Hey, Bill, can I get 1 second?
Sure.
Real quick. So, hey, I really love seeing everybody's faces, and some of you I know really maybe too well. Dave, thanks for jumping on. Is it all right, Dave? Okay, David. All right, Dave. So, and Dave is kind of new to Get Haunted. He joined up today. You know, we started this thing for a lot of different reasons, and it transformed from something very basic into what it is today. And, part of that is the charter teams, Crystal, Jane, all the people that are helping make this thing something really special. And yeah, I love it. I love seeing you guys. Thanks for being here, Dave. So Get Haunted really was an effort to try to bring everybody together to kind of move forward, right? And I wanted it to be very, very dynamic. So, one of the things we do is with the charter teams like Silence Paranormal, East Coast Paranormal, is, when we do events, we want to share the stage with them. They're going to come on, they're going to co-host events with us. They're going to make money as well. Another component of it is we got a bunch of talented people in the network. I make shirts, I make mugs, I do all this stuff. And, I know how much it costs to try to get these things done and get your team looking kind of slick. So I offer that stuff to them super cheap. I just think I did Michelle's shirts. They're on the way, Michelle, I promise. You should see them in a day or so. But we help with anything, designing logos to video content to, merch and things like that. So again, it's a way to kind of pull resources and pull people. The other part of that obviously is the events, which we're doing now. We literally, none of this was supposed to happen, guys, until right around now this year. But word got out somehow at the Warren Paracon that we were up to something, and I woke up to my phone blowing up the next day, and it was close to Halloween. So I was like, hey, Bill, let's just launch this thing and get going. And that's what we did. I swear to God, I never thought like 660 people, 650 people later in just a couple of short months was going to happen. So it makes me very, very proud to be able to kind of talk to everybody. And, Bill is like he's Bill Chappell Jr. Trust me, when you see his stuff, it's crazy. It's why, and Terry up there on my corner screen and Julie, they're like the biggest Bill Chappell Jr. fan. They buy all kinds of equipment. So they come with truckloads of stuff. For me personally, I slowly like started drifting away from equipment. So I'm not going to do a lot of talking this time. I love equipment. I think it's cool, but it's not I like being kind of in the environment now. So and Bill will talk to that later. But yeah, so Bill's like the man. He's an EMI engineer. He designed some really, really cool stuff. And you're going to see more of it in some different places this year that we'll announce when that happens. But yeah, so thank you everyone for coming. It's cool. It's cool to see this thing start to work, in the short amount of time that we've been doing it. So I'll shut up now.
All right, thank you, Rob. All right, so equipment. So I'm going to take a couple minutes, give my little spiel on equipment, and then open it up to you guys to just kind of discuss however you want to discuss this. So equipment, let's be honest, if it wasn't for equipment, none of us would be doing this. It's great to be able to have the psychic or mediumship abilities and whatnot, but for the rest of us normal people, it's equipment or nothing really. If it wasn't for equipment being able to capture the audio and video evidence, we wouldn't have the TV shows. And without the TV shows, I know I wouldn't be doing this. And I'm sure that's probably true for most of you. So in my opinion, equipment can be broken down into three tiers. The earliest tier, the lowest tier which is typically your cheapest. That's going to be your dowsing rods, your pendulums, your voice recorders. These are, in my opinion, the necessities. This is all you need. You don't need anything more than maybe a pair of dowsing rods and a recorder. You can do everything with that. You get your EVPs. Your recorder can, track everything that happened that night. I know I keep one recorder on during the entire investigation. I have completely separate recorders I use for EVPs and other such things. I'm a big fan of dowsing rods. They're so simple, but they work really, really well. Pendulums I don't use as often, but I still enjoy them. The next tier up, which is I guess kind of your your basic ghost hunting stuff that most people have. That's your EMF meters, your K2s, your REM pods. Those are fun. These are fun pieces of equipment because they allow you to see and hear what's going on. You know, you could put the REM pod in a doorway or ask them to interact with it or whatever it is. And that's exciting. That's what keeps you kind of going, especially when you're early on. You know, getting a REM pod to go off is super, super exciting. I guess cameras would probably fall in between tiers 1 and 2 because you can get them relatively cheap, and taking pictures is really important in all this. But yeah, so going on to level 3, that's, in my opinion, this is not only the most expensive equipment, but it's stuff that you really don't need, and a lot of it, if you don't use it right, it's completely worthless. So Ovilus, SLS, maybe even Phasmabots could be lumped in there, and things like that. Phasmabots and Ovilus, they can be great. You can get really good stuff out of it. I know I've gotten my own voice to come out of a Phasmabox, which freaked the hell out of me. And then, the Ovilus, crazy things have come out of the Ovilus, but you also get a lot of garbage out of it too. And the SLS, quite honestly, I don't like the SLS. It's so easy to get the SLS to give you false positives, especially if it's used in a way that you see on a lot of TV shows where you just kind of walk around with it. It's designed to pick up anything that's remotely human shaped and throw a skeleton on it. So if you're moving around a lot, it can see something, throw that skeleton up, and it's going to leave that skeleton up there for a while before it realizes, oh, that's not a human. So the best way to use it is to kind of set it up on a tripod. And I've investigated with Lori before. I know she does this. She sets it up on a tripod, puts it facing down the hallway, and then kind of just waits for something to pop up. In a situation like that, it's more likely that what you're seeing there is something real. But there's a lot of equipment out there. Static sensors really aren't worth anything. They're designed such that a human being walking through a room 2 doors over can set it off. They're designed to pick up the static charge that a human puts off, and they're incredibly sensitive. So I don't really care for those either because you get a lot of false positives. And it's kind of funny, and it kills me to say this because I make equipment, but I use it less and less the more I do this. When I started ghost hunting, it was all about getting that picture, that audio evidence that's going to change the world, that people are not going to be able to dispute. That's what I wanted. And the more I do this, I really don't care about that anymore. The more I've had these personal experiences and these more spiritual type experiences, I want that. That means so much more to me now. And to Rob's point, sometimes just sitting in a room and then seeing what happens is the scariest thing that could possibly happen to you. But still use gear, still bring it with me. REM pods, I still put them out, always have a recorder on me, and dowsing rods and whatnot. So that's kind of my 2 cents on equipment. I can honestly ramble on equipment for hours on hours, and Tanya and Rob can tell you I have done that. So I'll shut up now and stop rambling and open it up to you guys. If you want to unmute yourself, if you have something you want to add to it, if you want to, go ahead to, ask questions, or if you want to give your own opinion on equipment in general, or if you want to talk about a specific piece, the floor is yours. Go for it.
I would actually love to talk about dowsing rods. For everybody that doesn't know me, my name is Vicky. I'm on the Paranormal New England team. We're a charter team here. So, and I also run my little family team called Bentley Paranormal. But anyways, yeah, it's like really nice to meet everybody here. I recognize a couple of people, Crystal and Jane. We've met before, but everybody else, I think, brand new. So really nice to see you guys finally. I know like everybody's been on Facebook back and forth. So yeah, but anyways, so I just got my first pair of dowsing rods recently. but I have used them before in the past, only like once or twice. And they, you know, they belong to somebody else or whatever. So the only experience that I've had with the dowsing rods was when I used them years ago. Since I got my own, I haven't had like any significant experiences. I've sat there, asked questions, you know, try and stay really still. Nothing really tends to happen. Sometimes I think, you know, just like you would, I'm not going to associate it to a Ouija board because obviously that's like a way different piece of equipment, but just as your subconscious mind might be accidentally moving the rods, right? That's kind of like, I tend to be a little bit more skeptical of it, but a long time ago when I used them, I had this really unique experience where I was sitting on the floor, and this was in Gettysburg in Pennsylvania. And we were in a schoolhouse, and I was sitting on the floor, and I had the dowsing rods, and I was asking questions, you know, come over, move the rods, whatever. And the weirdest thing was that it almost felt like suddenly there was like this phantom feeling of inside of the palms of my hands, like somebody had actually placed their hands in the small space between me and the dowsing rods and had actually, you know, like put their hands inside of mine to hold the rods for me. And it was such a weird experience, and it only happened for like maybe half a second because I kind of, you know, like threw the rods down. But I was wondering, like, you know, what everybody else's experiences with dowsing rods, if that's ever happened to anybody, and maybe like what I can do to get better results with them.
So I'll go first. I suck at them. I drink coffee. I'm
Yeah,
I'm
me after like
jittery
an
to
energy
begin
drink
with.
at night.
Yeah, so I'm absolutely the worst person to ever try them. Plus, it like hurts my back, everything. I don't love using them. I do like watching people use them, and I personally witnessed some good friends who swear to God that they're not moving it, but I can see their hands moving. Like, so Bill and I had this discussion not that long ago, because I'm like, you know, I think we were talking about a bunch of things, including Ouija boards and anything that the human being is touching. In my opinion, they
Yeah,
gotta have a
pendulums
little
might be
bit
the
of,
same category.
yeah. So it's
Yep.
like, is it subconscious, or is somebody maybe being influenced? Don't know. It's all right. You don't know. The only way to do it is to really start. I'll give the example. We were doing table tipping at a place, and it's kind of hard to believe, right? Like, this table is moving on its own, but there was a point where the hands came off the table. That table was kind of standing there on its own. It was odd. And I'm like,
Yeah, it was tilted at like I was there, it was tilted at like a 45-degree angle. We all took our hands off and it just stayed there.
yeah.
Where was that?
So, huh?
Where was that?
In Gettysburg.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've heard about table tipping, but I've never
Yeah,
seen it
same.
in person, never experienced it.
Same. So, you know, when you look at that with a skeptical eye, which we need to do, right? I think being skeptical is so critical to staying valid and not looking like a pseudoscience or a nut, you know. I want, and our Brandon Bill's an engineer, and I had a kind of an engineering job, so I try to prove and disprove everything. And that one got me going. Yeah, I don't know how the hell that really happened. It was pretty wild. And Bill's spirit board that he made, I was watching this thing move, and the place we were at is definitely a special place. You'll hear more about it soon. Whatever happens there, it happens. So was that an anomaly in itself? I don't know, but you know, I've watched my friends do it, and I can see their hands moving, and I'm like, either they're moving it or something's influencing them to move it. Dowsing rods, I think, are very much mistaken as spirit moves the rods, and that's not the intent. It is spirit to influence the person to move the rods.
It's almost like a form of channeling.
Right. And at least what I've read. So, you know, I see people get really psyched when they get some movement, but I don't know, man. I wish, everything we do, I don't know if we'll ever have all the answers, but I believe that people are influenced by spirit, and I believe that there's people that are moving them subconsciously. It's just one of
Yeah,
those
so
things.
I've never really heard that. I haven't looked into it a ton, but I've never really heard that theory of the fact that it's not the spirit who is moving or the energy that's moving the dowsing rods. It's more of you're going into sort of a meditative zone and it's just happening without you realizing it, maybe.
I'm going to jump in on there real quick because Bill can testify. I was very skeptical of dowsing rods. I am really on the fence with a lot of things, and I take things not at face value. So I'm always questioning what are the downsides to these equipment. And dowsing rods were one of those things that when I first started out, I'm like, come on, there has to be a way that we're manipulating this. It's so easy. I don't see it. And it wasn't until we went to Pennhurst that I actually said, all right, I'm actually going to give these a chance and just try them out. And I do agree with you, Vicki. There is a subconscious level there, but as we've all been discussing, where is that merge between subconscious and spiritual and spirits? Is there a connection? And I truly believe there is on some level. But when we were at Pennhurst, and we had about about 10 people there. I think.
Yeah, probably 8 or 9. Yeah.
And we were down in one of the tunnels. I think it was the tunnel area.
No,
right?
no. It was the second floor of.
Where we're all lined up against the wall.
Oh, I thought you were talking about when the other time you were using dowsing rods there.
But where we're all lined up against the wall, and I was holding them, and I was asking them, like, point to so and so, point to so and so, and it literally, and I was trying to not, I'm like, I'm going to do everything in my power not to move and not to cause any movement, and it pointed to each and every person I asked, and then we had one pair, they were in another building. And they weren't even part of the group. And I said, point to where are they amongst us? And it pointed all the way, I think, to like the right. And here they were actually coming into the room at that time, right? Or they're like on the other side of the building, but they're in that direction.
Yeah, I thought you were going to tell the story. We were on the second floor of one of the buildings there. Tanya was using the dowsing rods. And at one point, the two rods, they went and crossed and they got stuck. They weren't touching each other, but they would not come undone at all.
Yeah. And that was, I think, that was the first time I used them that night. And they wouldn't even move back. But I'm very skeptical of those things. I don't take those things, I try to figure out what is causing it. Is it my movement causing it? Wind, environmental, my own mind. Maybe it is. I don't know, but so far, I'm kind of
even the times I've felt them. Oh God, they're moving. It's like, there's gravity there. Like that's what you're feeling, because it's very tempting to give into that and say, whoa, they're moving. They want to move, and you subconsciously almost help them along. It's just like the Ouija board concept, right? Where it's like, it's moving, and you want to follow it, you want to let it go.
And I was at the table tipping and all that stuff, and I have used Ouija boards and spirit boards and all those things in the past. And I go through this conversation, I think, once a day, Bill?
About
how is it, maybe it's my subconscious causing the effect.
Yeah, it's so hard not to write it
but
off.
We have to remember that that's still part of our energy, and we supposedly spirits and all that stuff is energy as well. So even that is, as Bill has told me, that in itself is powerful.
The thing is about dowsing rods. Dowsing rods, I mean, they're made of copper. Of course, you can get running water and all that. You can pick up, graves and all that stuff with it. Now, they are a good tool. I will admit they are a good tool, but whenever you use them, you got to clear your mind. but it's hard to do because you're asking questions. You're saying yes or no, yes or no. Try this out. Sit here at your house, hold them, and just don't say anything out loud. Just keep on saying yes, 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 cross for yes, cross for, keep on saying that, or no, or however you want to do it, open, close. Give that a shot. And I put money on it that they're going to do whatever you're thinking. It's so weird. I've tried it many a times over the years. I've sit here and got people that don't even believe in the paranormal. I was like, look, hold these and say yes or no. Just say it in your head. And they do. They open and close. I mean, it's something subconscious. I don't know. So I guess it's something to do with your brain and the copper. I have no idea, but I've tried it over years and I've debunked it. It does happen.
What do you think about, like, if somebody were to close their eyes and do the same thing?
You could give it a shot. I've gave it a shot before and it still happens. It still happens. Yes or no, and it still opens and closes.
You know,
So
one thing
I mean, you're touching.
I've done both.
I was about to say the same thing, David. I've done the same thing with dowsing rods and pendulums. Eyes closed, and it's still, I don't know how to explain it, but it still works. It's really freaky.
So one thing you
like
could do
that.
that's kind of fun is if you like mix it with the Estes method, put blindfold on, put headphones on so you can't hear the questions, and then see what happens.
That would
I
be
like
interesting.
Yeah.
I like the headphones. Never tried the headphones. That would be interesting.
One thing that we've done before is when we have multiple people that want to use dowsing rods, we'll get 2 or 3 people with dowsing rods in their hands, and then see, like, we've had sometimes where we've had what we believe to be multiple spirits, one talking through one person, one talking through another. Other times,
We
3
had them back
people
to back
using,
before too.
yeah.
Back to
3
back.
I believe we were at the library here in Scranton. We had 3 people with dowsing rods, and we started asking questions, and all 3 sets of dowsing rods reacted the exact same way. It was interesting. I like using multiple sets of dowsing rods if possible, especially if it's 2 people and you put them back to back so they can't see what the other one's doing.
And that's
It's a
something
nice
that we
little
like to do is we try to, I guess, try to remove all possibilities like visual, stimulation, auditory, anything that can remove those factors and still try to get some type of result.
That's pretty cool. I'm hearing all this. I'm excited to play with them more and like not be like, there's something to say when you're on an investigation with a group of people and you pull out your dowsing rods and people are like, okay, come on. Like, what are you doing? Like, let's take out the voice recorder instead. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to maybe experience a little bit more with that and see what I can drum up.
Somebody said this earlier, I don't remember who it was, but clearing your mind before you're using them, that's to me really important with both dowsing rods and pendulums. So maybe 5 or 10 minutes of personal meditation before you try to use them would be beneficial in the future. I have to do it, otherwise the subconscious thing kicks in, like, I really want this answer to be yes, so I really want this answer to be no. So I have to like calm myself down.
So, and I agree with that on even a voice recorder. If you ask me, I had this conversation with someone today. I get great EVPs. Like anybody that knows me or has been out with me knows I get great EVPs. Part of that is I feel like we are the antenna in some weird way, right? And if your mind's not right, if you're not cleared or grounded or whatever, you don't get great EVPs at night. It's, at least for me, that's how it's a weird thing. The Hoover House EVPs, like, I literally just cleared my mind before we got those. Conjuring House, Terry's been there with me, and we got the clap game caught on a recorder, but I was literally in my mind feeling like I'm an antenna. And there have been EVPs in the past where I think the answer. I don't know how to explain that. It sounds crazy, but I think the answer, and that's what comes out on the recorder. And I wish I could explain that. It's also why I'm terrified of losing my DR60.
The thing is with that also, you're sitting here thinking about it, man. That could be, that could be a gift. You're seeing it as it's coming to you before it comes out. And I mean, I've had that happen many a times before too.
What? I'm sorry for interpreting. Rob, what did you say? You're terrified of what?
Losing my recorder.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a DR60 is it's a Panasonic recorder, and it's really expensive. I have two. I got to back up just in case.
I would think like anything, whatever the mode of communication is with any piece of equipment, you are sending out the signal to ask questions.
Yeah.
It's you. It's not your recorder asking questions. It's you. So you are the one connecting with spirit, not your recorder. Just because your recorder happens to catch it, you still have to be in that nice frame of mind to receive and to give and to communicate. Yeah, for sure.
And another way to do this is, I mean, if you want to knock out contamination, have y'all ever tried the cell phone method?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, as for, some of y'all out there that don't know what it is, basically what you do, you get two cell phones, put it in the structure, call the other cell phone, put it on speaker, put that recorder right there, hit record. Go outside and you ask questions there. And you have the other one on speaker, so you'll be able to hear, disembodied voices. It knocks out the contamination. It knocks out a lot of stuff. I've had it done before. Actually, me and Stormy Daniels were actually investigating a place down in New Orleans. And dude, we were sitting out on the bus, sitting here asking questions about 30 minutes, and we heard a response on the speakerphone. It was like, okay, all right, this is a good way to stop the contamination.
Yeah, it's crazy when you get a response that way. That's insane.
Yeah, we did the same thing. We were at the Pelham Hotel in New Hampshire here, and we were staying in one of the hotel rooms and put the recorder in a bathroom, like closed and shut, far away enough where you weren't really going to hear our questions. And yeah, sure as day, it was as if somebody was like yelling right into the speaker in there. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
You're in New Hampshire?
Yes.
I'm in Jaffrey.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm in Nashua, so not too far, but nice.
So yeah, we were kind of playing around a couple weeks ago. Julie, Terry, Bill, Tanya, myself. They like to have haunted, creepy dolls, and
Mine are behind Bill.
yeah. So we try to need like a remote EVP session.
Well, with all the equipment too, and what we're trying to do is because we want to do like virtual investigations for the network. So we're just trying to see if that's possible. Try to kind of work out the kinks and all the problems that come about that. But I think we've had pretty good results so far.
Yeah, and we used the last time we did it with the necrophonic with my mirror back there, and I don't particularly like the cell phone apps, because you can't trust them. You don't know which ones are frauds or whatnot without looking at the code. But my friends John and Carrie Ann insist that the necrophonic's good, so we tried it out, and we got Terry's voice through it. We asked, how did you die? And we got a gunshot, then the word shotgun, then murder. It's just one thing after another. It was kind of insane what came through on that. The necrophonic.
The interesting thing was, it wasn't you next to in the same house that was asking those questions. It was us and other people that were hundreds and miles away that were asking the questions. That was what was interesting.
And we had both my phone and the haunted object. Like Tanya and I were here in my living room. We had them up on the second floor in the closet, so we weren't even anywhere near it.
And so everybody knows Terry is like, I've been trying to scare the shit out of Terry for years. I can't do it. He is stoic, man. He's an oak, but when something's impressive, when Terry starts going, oh my God, that was really cool.
all it takes is a mouse or a bat. Then you'll hear him scream.
Those don't count.
Yeah, I tend to like jump at my own shadow more than I do any actual ghost. It's like I'll be making breakfast and my toaster goes off and I'm like through the roof.
It happens to me too with the toaster.
But now, see, I'm the opposite. I am. I don't know if you're gonna put me. I'm like the I freak. I lose my
Yes.
shit.
It's,
he
it's a lot
does.
of fun.
Yeah, it's fun for you.
He
but
freaks
yeah,
when a sensor light goes off.
It's awesome.
that scared more than one person.
Yeah, anybody
be
going
honest.
to, anybody going to White Hill may witness that.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
May
our
witness
goal.
it. We'll witness it.
It's one of our tricks.
So I have seen things at White Hill. We all have, and recorded things. So yeah, I'm sorry. You don't get to unsee things sometimes. It's
White
always
Hill
in
is
the back
weird.
of your mind.
I have an EVP of a cow mooing at White Hill.
Well, we got that no. We
Yeah.
got that disembodied voice. I mean,
Yeah.
that was really awesome.
White Hill's good.
Yeah, that disembodied voice. We were split between two different rooms with the camera and oh, Laura, you were there for that. That was the
Hopefully,
first
yeah.
time we met you.
Yep.
We had the camera in the hallway with your SLS,
Mhm.
and you asked, is it okay that we're up here? And we got that really loud, breathy no
No,
that we
yeah.
all heard with our own ears.
Right.
So I want to know, Terry, what is your favorite piece of equipment? I think I know Julie's. What's yours, Terry?
No, it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, I'm not a mechanical engineer like Bill is by trade, but I
Electrical
always think-
engineer.
or electrical, sorry.
Big
But
difference.
I mean, I constantly try to debunk things also.
Yep.
So I mean, it's really kind of funny enough that the toy that I've kind of liked the most is a $3 mouse ball.
Oh, cat balls.
Oh yeah, I like cat
Oh,
balls.
those are great.
We have
Those are
I
the
knew you were
best.
going to say that. That's why I
we
asked.
have suitcases full of equipment, but but we have like 24 cat balls because we just like them. They're cheap and they work, which is I
Yeah.
can't explain why they work.
Mhm.
Oh, the
Motion
best thing
like-
to happen with the cat balls, we were at Mid Orange Correctional Facility with Terry Julie. It was me, Tanya, and her daughter, and we lined the hallway of one building with the cat balls, K2s, REM pods, and they went off one at a time going down the hallway, and it was accompanied with the smell of roses, and then it stopped for a bit, and then it came back up the other way.
Mhm.
That's really
Cat balls they've never failed us. They've always seemed to be interested, and I'll show guests or whatever. I'll put one down and I'll stomp around it and as much as I can to show you nothing will set this thing off. You got to touch it.
No,
And,
just open it by your speaker on your computer. 'Cause
Well,
then
yeah, that doesn't. That was kind of funny though. But we had a cat ball sitting on the laptop, and every time Tanya or Bill would talk, it would start going off. We're like, oh my god, it's going off. No, all right,
No, it's just my loud mouth.
Yeah.
debunked.
Hey, y'all, another piece of equipment you could try out, which is real cool. I've tried it over the years, is an untrained Furby. Have y'all tried that before?
A Furby?
An
Do you
untrained,
get those anymore?
you get an untrained Furby that doesn't speak Furbish because it just speaks Furbish, you know? Set it out there and
Furbish.
just let it get, yeah, that's what they call it, Furbish.
Is that like the 90s toy? One of those things? from
Yeah.
the 90s?
It's one of those like
Kind of looks
gremlins.
like a gremlin.
Set it out
Yeah.
there, untrained, ask questions.
It's a wild Furby.
If you get, I mean, it's creepy as heck too, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you get a response from an untrained Furby, like a sentence or even a couple of words, could be paranormal. It's just another thing in the field that you could try.
So this is
Interesting.
completely off topic of
I'm
the
sure.
paranormal, but I almost died because of a Furby once. My sister, my sister
Are you
left her
sure it
Furby.
wasn't paranormal?
He left her Furby in the back of the car, and it sat there for weeks. And my dad was driving me home from school, and all of a sudden it just screamed, and it scared the hell out of us. And my dad almost swerved into oncoming traffic. And yeah, that Furby saw the bad end of a shotgun.
No to self. No
Yeah, you
Furbies
can get-
for Bill.
You can get them on eBay. They're like, looks like they're 30 to $60.
I'm
neat.
super excited about the Furby idea.
That is.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to
Oh,
get
I'm
one.
sorry.
Try to untrained Furby now, the wild Furby.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah,
say
wow.
the eBay market is gonna be hot now.
It's something I also want to add, something that Bill and I do, because we always try to think of different ways to use things or investigate. We have used just a piece of string, just a red piece of yarn, and put it in between a doorway and try to see if we can get it another being to pull it, tug at it. Things like bells and stuff like that. Those are just as good as well. We still get results and things like that too.
Right. The old school equipment is like the freaking best, man. Because
Yes.
you get a tripod, put it out, get your fishing string, tie pencil at the end of it, and have a piece of paper at the bottom where it's barely touching it. The lead's barely touching it. Hey, it's another form of ghost writing in a way. If
That's actually a pretty good idea.
Yeah, I want to try that now.
Yeah, me too.
I had
I
a really
love the
weird
bells.
experience where I was sitting on somebody's stairs. It was like a home investigation. And like, you know how like carpeted stairs, the ends will get frayed or whatever. And there's these little plastic sort of doohickeys that keep the rug together that will fray out. And yeah, we just noticed randomly, like one of them was just moving in a really weird way and there was no track, there was really no reason for it to go. And yeah, it looked like all of a sudden maybe somebody picked it up like in the middle of it, which was really, I mean, it's such a inconsequential thing when you're looking at it because it's so, it's so minuscule, it's so like not noticeable, but maybe that was all, whoever was there, that was all they were able to muster in terms of, trying to let they were there. It was like, hey, I'm going to play with this tiny little plastic string by your leg. It's almost invisible, but this is all I got.
Right. That's definitely interesting.
So, I'm sitting here and I like the visual stuff. And I've in the past have had the pleasure of meeting and watching Crystal. Jane was with you at Mid Orange, right? I believe, yeah, Jane was there that night when I met you.
Where?
At Mid Orange Correctional. I know, and I do this sometimes, I'm sorry.
No, Shannon was
wasn't there.
with me
Oh.
from Pennsylvania. Yeah.
Okay, so it fascinates me, right? So I have very bad hearing. I wear hearing aids. Best ghost hunting tool for me, right? I hear things I don't want to hear sometimes, but watching Crystal investigate, for me, not being able to hear what's happening around me is terrifying. So I'm really curious what Crystal and Jane, what your favorite tool is.
My favorite is the hearing aid.
Oh.
It's almost as similar as an EVP.
Yeah.
There's no recording, but it's very sensitive. It picks up words and it's really loud. Hearing people say it's really low, but
I have two.
I say it's like a scream, but I wish someone could understand it, but it's like they try to communicate with me.
Yeah. And
really amazing.
You're making me like, I want to cry because it's, for me, I would turn them off, especially at Pennhurst. I could hear the children. Yeah, I know. It's very emotional thing that you can experience with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my favorite is a Wren pod. I noticed most kids love playing with it, especially with the bright colors. They feel more comfortable and not threatened. A cat ball, yeah, and that works great. You make sure that the on and off is always on the top line because it can be very sensitive if it's on the floor.
Okay.
So you can get false negatives or false positives. So make sure that the line is parallel to the floor. So there's like a seam, and make sure that that's parallel.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay.
So
yeah. And my senses.
Yeah.
That's,
which, so I can imagine that all of your other senses are amplified when you can't hear. So for me, that's terrifying, but it's very also, it's amazing to me. So I can't wait for our investigation in March.
Truth
Yeah.
is that we are the
also,
we're
I
the
want
besties.
train my feelings. Sometimes I can feel if it's a man or a woman or if it's a child. I'm practicing on that now. It's amazing. I feel heavy energy, strong, that I know it's a male. If it's light and it's a woman, yeah.
Okay.
Something
My
else.
favorite equipment is the cat ball, but also motion lights,
Mm,
setting them
very
up.
good.
I have a teddy bear with colored lights plus music. So I put the motion lights on the laps of the teddy bear.
Okay.
So when I walk away, so I can talk if anybody's here, and then they'll touch the bear and the motion light will come on. So that's one of my first exciting to see that happen. That was one of my first times.
Wow.
I have an SLS camera. Now I just learned that it's not really reliable. I was planning on to bring it to Shanley's, but not sure now.
Oh, bring it.
Bring it.
Bring it.
Okay, all right. So also, the last 5 years, I've been looking and looking for one piece of equipment that's has good access for deaf people. Do you guys definitely have the advantage of being able to hear, like the EVP tape recorder. What else? Used to be an Ovulus, but now they don't sell them anymore. I can't find it.
So to the point of the Ovilus, I am currently developing my own version of it. I don't have it quite working yet. When I do, Get Haunted will be the first to know.
We all want pre-order.
Also, like,
And
even a speech device that types everything out. What was it called? Dragon or something like
oh
that?
yeah,
Something like that, yeah.
I thought about using that, but it was just ungodly too expensive. I thought about actually using that, using a high powered mic, plug it up. And any kind of, voices, I mean, it should pick up the decibels just like voice recorders, right? So anything comes across, it should type it out for you where you can read it.
How about something that vibrates?
I was just
So-
about to say that.
It can feel the motion, like if it's on a floor and they're 10 feet
Like
away
a
from
pad
it.
or something, like something like that. You
I
can
was looking
feel
for
the
something,
vibration.
because it's like I have an eye mask, and so I can't see, and obviously I can't hear. I need equipment that would vibrate so I can notice if it's like something strong coming at me, like if the spirit's shy and it's trying to get my attention. They can see me and they come up at me, but I need something that would equipment that can vibrate so I can answer back.
we can do that.
We could do that. Rob, your lights, your floor lights. We swap out lights for something that vibrates.
Yeah.
Like a
And-
vibration tool.
So I have also something for Silence Paranormal to try that I'm bringing with me to the Shanley. It's different. It might be very, very cool. It's not a paranormal tool, but I think it might be able to make your experience different. We're gonna try it, and I really want to see how well it works with you guys. So I'll leave that as a surprise. It's very cool, and if it works, then oh man, it could really change things.
Well, guys, I'm sorry. I have to get off. I have to go to bed.
Thanks,
I
no problem.
mean, I really appreciate, let me come on the show. It was great meeting all of y'all, and I love all the ideas, man. It's amazing.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming,
do
Dave.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.
Nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Bye.
Nice to
Thank you,
meet
David.
you.
All right, y'all.
Take care.
Bye.
Nice to meet you.
Almost 8.
But
Bill,
I have something that Silence might enjoy using.
Oh, Justin's here.
Yeah, been a little quiet, but have you guys ever used the Tripwire? So what the Tripwire is, it's a whole big string of EMF meters. And so you can set it up around like a door frame, stairs, on a stage, all kinds of different things. And each individual light is its own EMF meter. And so it can kind of go off in sequence, going like upstairs, for example. So that could be a good way to kind of gauge a broader space.
Yeah,
They're not.
I
cheap,
always
though.
want.
I
I'm
was just
surprised
looking at
Terry
those.
doesn't have that. I'm sorry, I just stepped all over somebody.
No, that's fine.
I just saw him today on a Kindred Spirit show. I'm like, all right, we got to get those.
They're
Terry loves
relatively
Flash.
new. They
Yeah,
haven't been out for very long.
yeah, I saw him a couple months ago. I never bought one.
Yeah,
We don't have any more. We don't have any more room. We have three cases full of stuff. I don't have any more room. I don't want to
You
buy
need a fourth case.
So you can probably build that.
I've been looking into two ways to make that. And speaking of making equipment, Crystal and Jane, if you come up with any ideas for equipment that would be good for you guys, let me know and I'll see if I can make something for you.
He's good. Janelle's running away.
so I have a question for Bill.
Going to the gym again.
Walking quickly.
You guys, I have a question for Bill.
Okay.
You mentioned that you are developing some new equipment.
Yep.
Is it connected to like an idea of the Ovilus or?
It's very similar to an Ovilus. It's not quite the same. It's my spin on it. I don't quite have it working to the level I would want it to be at just yet.
I have another question. So I've been checking out for the past couple weeks. What do you think about using a Ring camera? Because I have a Ring camera that's set up in a room and have another Ring camera set up in another room, and it can set up and can have it connected to my phone. Do you think that would work? I know Shanice has Wi-Fi.
Yes and no. Here's the problem with any security camera. They have a very low frame rate. So if somebody walks through that room very quickly, it'll look like a spirit because it doesn't pick up fast enough. So it can work, but you got to be very careful. It's best to have two cameras so that if somebody's walking through, you can determine whether or not it's somebody else or an actual apparition.
I have one in this room somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yeah, I mean, 2 is definitely better, but if you have one stationary, I think it could maybe do at least as a trigger, like it alerts you that something's moving in that room.
Yeah.
Yeah, if no one's going into the room, close the door, lock the door or something.
This is
Those are great.
Overnight.
same kind of concept. This is cellular, and same thing. So it will send your phone a photograph or a video, however you have it set up.
Now, those trail cameras are better. They have a faster frame rate because they only record short snippets of video, so they can afford to have the faster frame rate. So that you won't get as much anti-aliasing that you will get on the security cameras.
Yeah, it's good too. So, and it's pretty quick to send you the SMS message, the text message. when something happens, and it gets you the photo, which is nice. These you can get sporting goods stores, and the basic free plan allows you maybe I don't know 30 images per month or something like that. So I'll send you the details.
You could also get some that aren't cellular, that just record everything to an SD card. You could pick up those for like $30. I have a couple of them that I use.
Yeah, we used those before.
So while we're on the topic of talking about the ways that you have to be careful how you use equipment, I want to talk about REM pods real quick, because I see this on the ghost hunting shows all the time. When you get like a series of really fast beeps and then it's on for a long period of time, and everyone's on the show is freaking out that, oh my God, it really wants to talk. That's the REM pod telling you the battery's dying. So when you get beep 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 beep, it changed the batteries.
Yeah. One other thing I noticed with the REM pod, when we were at Mid-Orange, if I had my walkie close to the REM pod, it would go off. I mean, and I was probably even maybe 3 feet away.
A walkie will set a REM pod off from about 50 feet away. And Tanya and I experienced this. We were at a Masonic temple in Scranton, and John's not on the call anymore. It was one of his events. And so we were in one of the lodges. We had K2s and REM pods set up all along the perimeter. And at one point we asked a question, and then every piece of equipment went off at the same time, freaking us out. Here it was John just outside the room with his walkie, and it set everything off. Yeah.
Even being too close to a radio station, a mile away can actually trigger any K2 meters, REM pods.
We literally have part of our kit is a battery tester. So prior to starting an investigation, we always check the batteries that go into the REM pods, because that's exactly, Bill, what you said. We experienced that one time, and we were really excited, and it turned out it finally turned off. Like, oh, okay, the battery died. So from then on, we always check the battery and usually put a brand new battery every investigation into the REM pods.
Yeah, I know my REM pods, I can usually go 3 or 4 investigations before the battery starts to drain.
I also think that the commercial REM pod, the round one with the red top, I've never really used that temperature thing, because I just don't think it works.
The temperature thing goes off all the time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's what was it, a 1 degree fluctuation in temperature?
Yep. Yeah,
a normal HVAC would set that off. Temperature goes down, up. So I don't even use that anymore. And I'd recommend.
Here in New England, the temperature is constant.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work. Yeah.
No, the REM pods I make, I don't put the temperature in for that exact reason. It's useless.
Yeah, I have a flux too, and I don't even pull it out anymore, because it's always the temperature going off. And it's really hard to distinguish if it's temperature or if it's motion.
Yeah, I have a Flux 2 that I've built one prototype of it. I'm still kind of tweaking it a little bit, but yeah, no temperature in mine either.
Good. Yeah, because this one, it's even, I think it's backwards. So if the temperature goes down, it's a high pitch noise. The temperature goes up, it's a low pitch noise. Why? It's completely backwards. So yeah, we don't even use it anymore.
Yeah, the only thing I make that I put the temperature in is the K2.
Yes.
So my upgraded K2, I add sound, and then there's a temperature sensor on it, but it doesn't cause anything to go off. It's just a readout of what the temperature is in the room.
If nobody has seen Bill's K2s that he makes, they're really awesome looking.
You should show
All
them.
right.
Show them.
I'm right here.
Yeah, that's actually a really good question though, because I have a K2 that's silent, and I've heard from some people that the ones that make beeping noises, they will set themselves off, or whatever it is. I've just heard that like maybe the silent ones are better, or yeah, like what's everybody's experience with that?
This is my K2.
Oh,
I think the one thing you have to remember about the K2s, just like REM pods, it's creating an electromagnetic field, which Bill's more experienced than I am.
Yeah. And that's my REM pod.
There's his REM pod.
Carol, you'll get to play with that REM pod in a month.
Yeah, those are nice. But anything can set off that electromagnetic field. So that's the thing you have to be very wary of.
Well, here's the big difference between them is the REM pod produces its own electromagnetic field. So it's looking for a change in it.
The bubble. Yeah.
The trick with these is you set it in place and then turn it on because it calibrates itself.
Yes.
Whereas these are pre-calibrated. So these will just measure whatever the EMF is around it. That's why these will go off with cell phones and stuff, but these won't typically. Although walkies will still put these off.
And I think a good, piece of advice is just to always make sure that you are, if something is going off, to look around your environment, see if something is setting it off, cell phones or what have you, before you jump that it's paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the one thing we actually never mentioned, Bill, Rob, Tanya, is we're in this to try to find things, but always be on the debunk mode. Try to debunk everything before you agree that it's paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
I think I fall on that line more than, like, I don't take things at face value. I'm always like, well, could it have been the wind or someone's phone on or something? Because sometimes it is environmental, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
But that's part of what we're supposed to be doing.
Like some of my biggest pet peeves are like spirit boxes, which I love my SB7. I love it. It's fun. It's really cool when you listen back and you hear all kinds of answers that you didn't hear before in the moment. But yeah, there are a lot of times where, if I'm investigating with my sister, for example, she gets really, really like, she's like, that's the best. That's the best, truest method of communication, and we're going to get very specific answers. But I'm like, it's all open to interpretation at the end of the day.
I have to agree with your sister that it's the best form of communication, but not by listening to it in and of itself. Well, you have to use the Estes method. Listen through headphones with blindfold, and then you get some amazing stuff. And I know for a fact that both Tanya and Mike and Rob all, as soon as they put the headphones on, they start getting stuff. These guys are fantastic with the Estes method. It's a joy to watch the three of them be under it.
Yeah, what's funny is I was first introduced to the Estes method with the Phasma box. I hadn't really seen the Estes method or anything like that. So like with the Phasma box, it was really cool. But then I realized the SB7 with that same method, it's so great because you get all this static where you can't hear anything. And I've seen people do it with the Phasma box, where I do it myself with the Phasma box, and I'm like, okay, you can hear the rest of the room. I have nice Bose noise canceling headphones, the active noise canceling and everything, and you can still sort of get the gist of conversation unless you're 5 rooms away, right? Unless you're downstairs and they're upstairs. If you're in the next room over, you're definitely going to hear what's being said. But with the SB7, especially with all that static, it's really great because you really can't hear what's going on around you. Which,
and I like
I've definitely gotten similar results. They're really cool.
I like the static because it kind of puts me in a meditative state.
Mm-hmm.
I like that feeling.
That white noise.
Isolates me. It puts me in that realm.
Yeah.
As, other ones. I like using the Phasma box. I mean, but I really like that static noise in hearing that.
Yeah, I definitely agree though. The Estes method for the spirit box is definitely better than listening to it in real time. I have noticed that when we go back and review video, we definitely pick up on more responses than we thought we got initially. But yeah, otherwise it's like, in the moment, you tend to get worked up and hyped up in the moment, and you're like, what was that? Who was that? And it's like, it's very difficult to tell in the moment whether it was radio, whether it was somebody actually talking to you,
I know
Well,
a funny experience I had at Penhurst, doing the SS method. We're downstairs, there was no radio signal. So it was very clear. And I swore our one friend just would not shut up. Because you, like you said, sometimes you can hear the conversation. I can hear that sometimes, not what they're saying, but I can kind of differentiate who's speaking. And our
So
one
you
had, like,
you were you
I
had
was
have-
under,
yeah,
I was under,
okay.
and I just kept on hearing him. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like, shut up. Like, what are
He's
you
from
telling us?
Boston, so he has a very heavy
Yeah,
accent.
he has a Boston accent. You cannot mistaken his voice. And I'm just like, is Brian still talking? And I think he wasn't even talking. I don't even think
No,
asked
he
a
wasn't.
question. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
we have it on camera. She's like, why won't Brian shut up? And Brian's just standing there. He hasn't said a word.
Hey, quick question.
Poor Brian.
When Jane puts her hand up, does that mean she has a question?
Yes.
Okay.
okay.
The headphones and the blindfold, is that the same idea that I saw on Kindred Spirits show?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
So I do have a question or a thoughts discussion about the Phasm box. We kind of actually heard this from Corey, Rob.
Crystal?
Do you feel that? Oh, I'm sorry. She's talking. Sorry.
Okay. Jane, do you remember when we went to the Conjuring House? Your other daughter, Monica, me and Jamie, what we did was they used a blindfold, and I think Jamie was sitting with the headphones and the eye mask. And Monica was standing there. How was I? I can't remember. It was last year. Hold on. It was a long time ago. It was like a game of something, because I thought one was speaking and the other one was signing, and they were answering right. So gotcha. So the hearing person was blindfolded in the headphones, and the other person was signing questions. And I would ask, and they would write down to see if it was, oh, okay, wait a minute, interpreter error. So there was a hearing person with a blindfold, headphones, and another hearing person, and then and Crystal. So she would ask the question and sign it, and then Crystal would write down her answer, how she felt, and then the person blindfolded and with the headphones would write her answer down, and they were the same.
Really?
Oh, wow.
I like
That's
that
cool.
idea.
I need to see
I
that.
want to do that. I want to do
That's
that.
pretty neat.
Yeah.
When we get together, I want to
It
do
was
that.
fun. It was so fun.
Well,
It's neat.
we were at the Shanley in December, and we had both Tanya and Rob under the SS method, and one would start a sentence and the other one would finish it.
And we're across the room. Didn't we do something like Big Bad Wolf or something like that?
Something
I
like
said
that,
Little
yeah.
Red Riding Hood, and he said.
Oh, that
Big
was
Bad
at Selma.
Wolf, or-
That was at Selma, right?
That was at Selma.
Well, that one
there.
was at Selma, yeah, but we did it
Oh.
at the Shanley too. I forget exactly what was said, but Rob started a sentence and then you finished it, or vice versa.
Oh yeah, you're right, Terry. That one was at Selma. That's what I'm thinking.
So all I can say about the equipment that I've built recently, so I recently got a Microsoft Surface Pro, which I have sitting right here. Of course, the Wi-Fi wasn't working, so I had to join on my work laptop tonight. But I paid, maybe like $250 for the tablet, and then I got the Phasma box, and I did an SLS setup, which I was able to find Connect on Marketplace for like $10. So it was super cheap for me to put together. So in essence, I'm really glad that everybody seems to be kind of saying mixed things about the SLS and the Phasma box. They're fun tools if they're used properly, right? You can get some pretty unique and cool experiences out of them. But yeah, I'm glad that I was able to at least do it in an economical way where
yeah.
I'm not spending $800 for an SLS camera on eBay, you know, because
Yeah.
I've definitely seen the prices. And I was like, you know, to be able to get the Connect 360 thing for $10.
Oh yeah, the SLS is not expensive to build one, and it doesn't
Yeah,
take a lot of
no,
skills
and
to make it.
all it took was like maybe an hour or two of research on YouTube
Yeah.
to figure out what software I needed to download.
The thing with SLS and the Connects and all this is everyone, you need to remember that it was designed to actually to look for that human
To
chip.
look for it, just like your eyeballs are
That's
always
right.
searching for
So-
faces.
So
yeah.
anything that's even remotely human-like, it'll put a skeleton on, and that could be a hanger, a picture on the wall,
Mhm.
a coat,
Oh, I've
anything
seen-
like that. That's
Everybody's
why it's
seen
really good to. You really got to put it on a tripod and just leave it at one spot for like 10, 15 minutes. And if
Yeah, to
if
get like
nobody's
an
walking
actual
in front of it,
understanding of, okay, it is not picking up on anything.
right?
Because like we've all seen those bullshit things on TikTok, pardon my French, but the bullshit filters on TikTok where it's like, oh, there's a ghost here. And you know, there's these kids that are like, oh my God, there's 16 ghosts in my house. It's right there sitting in my chair. It's like,
Oh,
no, it's literally just picking up on the coat on your chair.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
you don't even need TikTok for that. Any of the ghost hunting shows, well, not any of them.
Yeah.
Several of them use it. Like Kindred Spirits, they use it pretty well most of the time. But Ghost Adventures, they're always just running around with it, and things keep popping up and going away. And they're like, oh my God, look at all these spirits here. It's like,
There's a ghost.
no,
yeah,
you're
they
using it wrong.
automatically just
However, Bill, we will say that you did have one positive experience with the SLS.
Yeah. So, so there's this thing that Tanya and I do when we go to cemeteries. We'll write a word on a piece of paper, hide it by a tombstone, and then when everyone else shows up, it's, you know, see if you could have the spirits tell you the name of the tombstone, the age, when they died, or the word on the paper. So me and Danelle were at the Conjuring House, and so I went into the library and I wrote a word on a piece of paper, and I hid it in one of the books. And there are thousands of books in that library. So Danelle and I are sitting in the dining room. She's listening to the EVP that said the word on the paper. She's trying to decipher it. And a guy walks in and just says apple. And apple was the word I wrote. I'm like, oh, how'd you figure it out? How'd you find the book? He goes, we were in the library with the SLS and a figure popped up. So I asked it to point to the book, and it pointed right to it.
that's really cool.
Can't argue with that one. And we were there for 2 nights in a row. The second night, to go back to Dowsing Rods, I'm sitting in the dining room, and one of the women there comes in and says, hey, could you come into the library? Yeah, sure. So I go in the library, and they said, is the book on this shelf? Yeah. How'd you guys narrow it down to that? Dowsing Rods. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, let's get the book. So they held the Dowsing Rods up and they asked it to point to the book, and it points to the book, and then it quickly goes to the book and then points away. And I said, come on, you know what the book is, point to the book, no more playing games. So it points to the book and then quickly goes away. I was like, hey, no more playing games. We're not going to do this anymore. Point to the book. So it very slowly starts moving across the bookshelf. And as it gets about 2 or 3 books away, it starts going back the other way. And I yelled at it, I'm like, hey, no more games. Show them the book. We're done with this. And so it goes and it points right to the book. I'm not holding the Dowsing Rods. So like, I'm the only one who knows what the book is. Danelle didn't even know what the book was. And so
Wow.
it was just the guest holding the Dowsing Rods, and it went right. It was so cool. I've been using Dowsing Rods since I'm about 8 years old. I love Dowsing Rods, but that right there solidified that Dowsing Rods are an awesome thing.
And our
That's
card games,
really, really
we
cool.
love that game.
Hey guys, I gotta run. I'm sorry. My wife's sick, so she's like on the couch, like I need to go to bed. So I'm gonna see them. Here. Can you see my guy, Crystal?
Oh, nice to see you too.
I love this app. So
Great.
I'm trying to learn something every day. I'm terrible at it, but by Shanley, I hope that I can embarrass myself just a little bit by trying really hard.
Oh, don't worry about it.
No, it's important to me. But seriously, thank you guys for coming. I have to run and let my wife go back to bed because she's feeling terrible. She's negative, no COVID test positive yet, but she doesn't feel well. So have fun.
We do our best.
I'll see you soon.
See you, Rob.
We'll
Hey,
talk
Rob.
later. Bye, guys. Have fun.
Bye, Rob.
Nice to meet you.
Bye. Where's off? There it is.
Yeah, so I'm going to the Conjuring House. So I've been to the Conjuring House only one time, and I'm going next weekend. So I'm really excited because the first time I went, nothing happened. And I actually got that feeling when I was going into it. I was like, I just didn't get the feeling that anything was going to happen. I was like, it feels like it's going to be quiet. And it was like, we really didn't get any sort of evidence. Ashlyn and I got so bored that we pulled out one of the Ouija boards, which I never play with the Ouija board, but it was just such a quiet night. So I'm really hoping that maybe I can get some advice from you guys on what's worked at the Conjuring House for you. So I can try, maybe just some experimental methods. Like I love the writing on the paper, putting it away in the book. I think that's really cool.
So I'll give you 3 pieces of advice. The first, be very careful. The first time I was there, it was just like that. Nothing happened. The next 2 nights I was there, everything happened.
Like off the hook.
Off the hook. But that place can cause some damage.
So I felt about it was I was like, whatever's there can really choose whether or not it wants to be active.
You really got to be careful because if it really wants you, it'll give you everything you want, so you keep coming back, and that can be a bad thing. It could have.
Just ask Rob.
Yeah.
Just ask Rob about that. Also, Vicky,
me as well.
I think Corey and Jen don't like people to use Ouija boards there.
No.
Okay, that's good to know.
rules.
Yeah, I had no idea.
No seance type stuff, none of that.
Okay.
No candles.
All right.
No.
None of that.
Good to know. Good to know.
So other things to do there, go in the library with no equipment and just sit there.
Mhm.
The doors may just open and close on their own. I've seen that.
Yeah.
The room might just go pitch black. Danelle and I watched that happen. That scared the shit out of us.
We've had phantom lights in there too.
Yeah.
Like lights coming from underneath the chandelier where there's no, like the light bulbs are on top, but all the light was coming from underneath it. It was really weird. It's hard to explain.
Depending on the weather, there's a circle of stones out in the yard. You can go sit out there. Tanya did the Estes method there and had some weird stuff happen. But you also get a lot of like UFO activity. So if you just sit out there and look at the sky, you might see something.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And then the last thing, they have something new there. It's called a telepathic spirit communicator. It's like a Ouija board, but the planchette sits in a trough and it slides side to side. They will let you use that. So definitely play around with that because I made it.
Cool. Awesome. I know the only time that we felt like maybe something happened was we were leaving, and it was this time of year. It was like January last year, and it was super snowy. Everybody had to like shovel out their cars before they left. And so we were all outside. It was probably 3 a.m. when we left. And my sister said that she was getting in the car and she heard what sounded vividly, like really loud, like a woman's scream. And my only answer to that, because nobody else heard it, and there were like, I was there in my car right next to her, nobody else really heard it, but all I could suggest to her maybe to debunk it was that it is the backwoods of Rhode Island, right? There are large cats in those woods and stuff that maybe, or even a fox, that could make that scream. But yeah, I don't know. At the same time, I was like, if Corey heard that, or I think Bill was taking care of the house at the time, Bill Brock, you would think that if they heard that, they would come running out to us maybe, or, something. But yeah, it seemed very quiet anyways. So
when did you say you're going?
Hi, Vicky.
Next Saturday. Hi, Jean.
I don't know if you can see this, but
I stayed there and I got sick.
I got dizzy. Same with Crystal.
Yeah.
Ringing in our ears, dizzy. I was touched, and then overnight, my motion light kept going on, off 4 times during the night. It was just my daughter and I. I'd get up and she's still sleeping. I didn't see anything. So there's stuff that happens there at night. So sorry you didn't get to experience it your first time. Hopefully this time you will.
You know, it's a shame you're not going later, because next month's town hall is going to be protecting yourself, and Dustin's actually going to be our special guest helping us out with that one.
Yeah, I could definitely use that. I've had some one very vivid experience where it's been super unsettling, where it's like something came at me and like kind of coerced me, and I really didn't like it, and it freaked me out. And yeah, so definitely, I mean, are you guys holding that over Zoom or?
Yeah.
But I will say too, like, you don't have to wait until next month. You can totally message me and we can set up something private. Because if you're going to go to somewhere like Conjuring, you definitely want to make sure that you're like as safe as possible.
Yeah, I tend to be a little bit more like accidentally open, just because I'm sort of an internal optimist, and I'm just like, oh, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I get really excited, and I often accidentally put myself into a meditative state when I'm ready to experience something, when I'm listening really hard during an EVP session or something like that, where I have to pull myself back and say, whoa, stay in reality, right? Because I get so far into that sort of like trance, just like Tanya was saying with the white noise and everything, you tend to just stay there accidentally and not even realize that you're doing
and I realized, can you guys hear me, by the way?
Oh yeah.
I had to take it's funny, we're talking about the Conjuring House and my headphones just start going berserk. I've never had a problem with these before, and all I hear is zzz, so I had to take them off. So but yeah, like, I know for me personally, I'm probably too curious. Curiosity killed the cat. I probably pushed my limit way too much. I'm just like you too.
I think it's so, when you're just you're not thinking about closing yourself off, you're thinking about finding something, right? So it's
especially
not like,
especially with me, like I know we're planning to talk about this eventually with like psychic abilities and stuff like that. I've closed myself off once upon a time, and it's so hard to get back to that state that I think right now where I am trying to get back there, I open myself up way too much, that I think someday it's gonna kind of backfire on me, and I hope not, but I open myself way too much.
One of the things that we never asked about or talked about is, I mean, we don't take any grain of salt with orbs. I mean, I think orbs basically 99.99% are just dust. But at the Conjuring House outside, I just want to see if you guys can see this. A guest took a picture of an orb. If I can see it.
I remember you showing us that.
Right there. It's the brightest solid thing I've ever seen. It looks like the planet Venus. So it's not see-through. It's got actually it's got characteristics to it. If you zoom into it like in a big screen, it's got thousands of little brown lines around the outside edges of it. Weirdest thing we've ever seen. It's over top of that big stone that's outside at the Conjuring. So
that tree line right there, I witnessed the night I was there, the lights in the trees. And here I thought that was probably a neighbor or something like that. And when we watched that documentary that came out a couple months ago, they caught that same exact thing. And mind you, they did that documentary a year or so ago before I was even there. And it was lights just flickering in and out, like an orb, kind of.
Okay, Crystal had something to say. Which one, Crystal? Before I leave, I want to show you an equipment that I made. It's deaf friendly.
It's deaf friendly. I'm struggling with a spirit trying to open it, like turn a knob to open it. Yep, okay. It looks like this. It's testing. Oh, for like a doorknob. It hangs on a doorknob. I'll turn it on right now.
Ooh.
Cool.
It's green. If someone walks by, it turns red.
That's cool.
And then if it's really close, it blinks. So I'm still trying to figure out how to add one more microcontroller to connect it to the knob. I need something right here, like a wire or something to connect to the knob. So maybe I need your help, Bill. See if maybe you can think of something.
Yeah, I'd be happy to help.
That's pretty neat. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, my boyfriend made it. He did make one microcontroller, but it failed somehow. It just, I don't know. It works good, but I just need one more right here, right there.
Hey, send me a message and I'll try to see if I can help you out.
Okay, great. Great. All right. Many thanks. Thank you all. We're gonna go because interpreters are usually 1 hour. I worked all day interpreting and I'm tired. So thank you guys.
Oh, it's a pleasure to have you.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
It's nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Oh, Dustin, you signed. Oh, good night. Oh, his fiance is an interpreter. I'm interpreting for the hearing person. Are you going to Shanley's?
Awesome.
Are any of you guys going to Shanley's?
I'll be there.
We should, yeah.
I would love to, but yeah, not in the cards right now.
Okay, great. So I can remember your faces when I meet you there. All right. Bill, thank you so much for all your support.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I really appreciate it. Good night.
Good night.
I'm happy they were able to get an interpreter and actually be part of this because I know Crystal was excited for it.
That's actually very neat. I'm really intrigued that the death is getting into the paranormal. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward
devices.
to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Shanley and working with them to see how they actually investigate. That's got to be really interesting.
We're gonna learn some new things, I think. Definitely.
Yeah, I actually, Jane and Crystal were the only two people that I knew on this call, and I met them at SK Pierce House in Massachusetts, and I just remember like Crystal was such a badass because she just decided to go up to the attic by herself and just blindfold herself and just sit up there and just, you know, like by herself, secluded in the attic. And I remember hearing her scream really loudly at one point. She would like blood curdling scream. And yeah, a couple minutes later, she walked down with Jane because Jane had gone up there and like opened the door and spooked her. So she didn't know that somebody was actually in the room with her. But yeah, it was really cool just to see how courageous you have to be. I mean, I'm scared of everything, right? Even with my hearing, with all my senses. So to like completely block yourself off like that is really crazy.
Yeah, there's only one place I've ever investigated that I think I could be there by myself, like in the dark, have no fear, and that's the Hoover House in Gettysburg. Every place else, I keep my composure pretty well for the most part. I try not to be like Rob, but I'm always freaking out on the inside.
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
for me, as
I'm
long as
always
I'm with
freaking out.
one other person at least, like I can usually keep my wits about me. But yeah, alone, I don't do so well.
I'm so bad I can't even go down my basement by myself. I have to take the cat as my protection. I'm carrying him in front whenever.
Hey, cats are underrated protection.
They are. They are.
No, cats are no protection at all because for two reasons. One, they're going to protect themselves first. And two, if there's something dark and evil in your basement, your cat's probably worshiping it.
And sometimes
That is a
cats end up
really
being
cute
ghosts.
No, I take
cat,
Zuko
though,
down
too.
because if there's
Wow.
something there, he gets tossed at it. And so
Oh my God.
First line. Hey, he has like sharp claws. He can.
He's a
You know-
doofus. He doesn't know what to do with himself. So
Sometimes also the cats end up being the ghosts. So
yes, that is true. That is true, Mike.
There are so many times where I'll be down here and all the cats are down here and all of a sudden you've got two of them going. And I'm looking and there's no other cat over there. I'm like, stop it. You're freaking me out. It's like,
Well, the
what do you
scariest
see?
experience I had in my house, my two cats at the time, those were my protectors. They stayed at my bedroom door and they guarded it and paced back and forth, back and forth. So I mean, I put trust in my felines.
Thanks for coming, Dustin.
Thank you.
Bye,
Hey, Dustin.
Talk about equipment. Bring it back around. Just bring a cat to your next investigation.
There you go.
Oh, Terry and Julie have a cat.
one.
We do have one.
It's
Yeah.
a REM. They made a REM pod out of it. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
have a REM cat.
That's awesome.
So
I grew up
realistic.
with a bunch of cats too, and we lived in an old, very haunted Victorian house. And I swear, like the cats would be like, in the
Yeah,
corner,
yep.
like staring at something, and I'm like, please stop, just please stop. I don't want to know.
Yeah. Tanya's house is very haunted. Mike can attest to that.
oh, absolutely.
Now you
Yeah.
guys are in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Cool.
The Wilkes-Barre
Yeah.
Scranton area.
Nice. All right.
Yeah, the bad thing in Tanya's house does not like me. Mike could attest to that too.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Oh,
like
yeah.
Mike either.
No, it was very unfriendly when I was doing the spirit box. Got really angry and very serious really fast.
I will say, like, for me personally, growing up in a really, really haunted old house and experiencing that for, maybe the first 18, 19 years of my life, and then moving to a place now, which is just a tiny little cozy apartment with nothing in it. I definitely feel now like I'm wicked spoiled. And, I'll go to my old house. My stepdad still lives there. And I go to visit him and I'm like, man, part of me misses it, but part of me is like, it's really nice to walk around in the middle of the night with the lights off and not be like looking in the corners,
Yeah, I still live in mine. I've lived in mine my whole life. I'm still there. I mean, it's not as bad as it used to be. It's probably dormant now. But the other day I felt like someone was watching me downstairs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I have to clean this house, but screw it. I'm
It
going
is
upstairs.
weird though, like going from understanding that day-to-day feeling of like, oh yeah, somebody's there with me. It becomes so normal that you just don't you don't recognize it almost. And then, to go to a place that's completely neutral and quiet, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, something's not watching me.
And here at work, I know there's something here. I refuse to acknowledge or even do anything here because I'm like, I'm not activating anything. I have to be here by myself all night. So
Yeah, my house is not haunted. So instead I fill it with Ouija boards, haunted objects, a coffin.
You BYOH or BYOG, bring your own ghost.
Bring your own ghost.
Oh yeah, I've taken Jake up here on investigation. We did a really cool thing. It was at Selma. Terry and Julie were there. I had him in a box me and Tanya were the only ones who knew we were even bringing it. And we told everybody that we have this haunted object. It's in the box. It's not coming out until the object tells you what the object is or its name. And so we sat in a room and Rob did a EVP session, and the first question he asked was, "What's your name?" And you get a very clear EVP is my name, or what was it? They call me Jake, and that's Jake.
Wow.
So he got to come out of the box.
And the two old couple are mine.
Yeah, right over my shoulder. That's Daryl and Millie.
Which is cool because talking about cats at my house, like they're at his house because we were doing the virtual investigation last week. But at my house, when I bring them out, my cats come out of the woodwork. They can been sleeping all day, and the second I put those two on a chair, they come right up to them. They're more hyperactive. We've had them, I say call Zuko over. Zuko will go right up to them. Call Mustachio over. Mustachio will go over to them.
And usually when I'm there, Mustachio goes and hides in the couch because he doesn't like me. But when the dolls are out, he comes out. That's the only time I ever see him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mike, he loves.
And I think
he loves
when we
just
were
hang out in their
investigating,
couches.
Terry and Bill, your cat was more
They're very
active,
comfortable.
too.
Yeah. They were
Okay.
on the screen and
Yeah.
the one cat came up.
And you said that's not like him usually, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, we'll definitely be talking more about haunted objects because the plan is for next month. The town hall is going to be protection, and Dustin's going to help us with that one. And then the following month in March, we're going to do probably haunted objects as the topic.
It is
Everyone-
really funny though, and cool to see kind of like how our conversation evolved tonight.
Yeah.
It's nice that this is, it has an agenda, but there's a loose forum that goes along with it. That's cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole idea behind this is have a topic, talk about it, but let the discussion kind of go where it goes. And this way we all get to know each other and learn more and just have a good time talking about the paranormal.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm gonna get going, guys.
Yep.
So it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Nice
really
meeting
nice meeting you guys. I from the people that have their first and last names, I tried to add a few people on Facebook.
I think you and I
Yeah.
are already friends on Facebook.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
We are definitely friends.
This
And
is
now
Julie
we're
Malik.
Zoom friends.
This is Julie Malik.
Julie.
Malick. And I am friends with Bill,
Yeah, it looks like we have a
Rob.
Tanya, Rob.
You are, oh yes, well, I see some Annabelle type pictures here, so that's gotta be you, right? Gotcha.
But yeah, I want to thank everyone for signing on and staying as long as you have. And we've been going for almost 2 hours now. Doesn't feel like it.
Wow. No, it doesn't.
But yeah, thanks that you guys made this first town hall a success, I'd say. And we'll continue to do this the first Thursday of every month, with the second Thursday being a backup date in case we need to move it like we did this month. But yeah, and next month will be protection, and Dustin's going to help us out with that.
Awesome.
Great.
Okay.
All right, guys, thank you.
Hopefully we can all go
Night.
ghost hunting.
Good seeing you
together
again,
soon.
Lori.
Yeah.
Nice
Hi, Lori.
meeting you.
Haven't seen you
Mike.
guys in a while. We'll have to catch up.
Absolutely.
Hi, Lori. Hi, Lori.
How you doing?
How's
Good,
I
how are
miss you
you?
guys.
Bye,
I
guys.
miss you too.
We'll see you soon.
All right, guys,
Yes.
have a good
Take
night.
care.
All right,
Good night.
guys.
Bye.
See ya.
Night, everybody.
Night, Mike.